Okay, okay. Bye.
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Thank you, thank you. Jaya Radha Govinda Shri Radhe. Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jayo Jayo Prabhupada Jayo Prabhupada Jai Jai Gurudev Jayo Jayo Gurudev हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय गुरु महाराज की जय हरे कृष्ण Is my voice clear? Everybody is able to hear properly? Prabhuji's Mataji's? Hare Krishna. Is my voice clear? Everybody is able to hear me properly?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, okay. Can I request everyone to be, live, interactive, so that it is only serving the other devotees. Otherwise, if we are very dull, passive, then we are also discouraging the other devotees, right? So bare minimum I request everyone to do is actively participate, keep your camera on, respond proactively so that it is lively for everyone. Gita Mataji, Divya Rukmini Mataji, and all the devotees. Otherwise, even I also feel very dull and discouraged, right? Thank you, Mataji's Prabhuji's. Hare Krishna. ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतिरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त श्रीराधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्रीराधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वं च कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Venkata Narasimha Prabhu, can I request you to keep the camera on? Mangalamai Sri Prada Mataji, Murli Prabhu, Rajiv Mukh Prabhu, Rohini Mataji, Tarini Mataji, and all the devotees. Hare Krishna. So those who are for any reason not able to keep the camera on can refer to the recording, Prabhuji's Mataji's. Hare Krishna. And please drop off. Hare Krishna. We'll wait for 5 minutes. See, it is only basic courtesy and respect towards each other if both sides are very active and actively participating. Otherwise, it is a disservice to all other devotees if we are being non-participative, non-active, and just hearing in a passive mode. I'll start Kirtan while other devotees are live on the camera. Hare Krishna. जय श्री श्री राधा गोविंद देव जी की जय। Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Mai Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Bhagwan Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Guru Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Hare Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Reena Mataji, Nityangi Mataji, Hare Krishna. If you are not able to come live, then please drop off and you can hear the recording, Mataji, please. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Rasarangini Mataji.
Can you hear me, Prabhu? I'm there, Prabhu.
Yeah, so either you conduct, Mataji. I really feel very discouraged, that I think devotees are just being bit lackadaisical, and I'm happy to come back, but when the active participation is there, I personally don't feel it is fair spending hours preparing and then having to ask even simple questions, not getting responses.
I agree, Prabhu. Just give 2 minutes, Prabhu. They will all switch on the video.
Yeah,
Geeta
that's
Mataji?
fine. We'll
Yes.
start in 10 minutes. I will come back in 10 minutes. You can get ready, all of you.
Sure, Prabhu. Done. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Rajiv, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Rajiv, Prabhu. Reena Mataji, can you keep your video on? Nityangani Mataji, can you keep your video on? Mataji, I think this is something which I totally agree with Prabhu. It's not about video on or something, but it's more from the fact that even when I used to take the session, I felt, only that 5-6 of them are very responsive, like Usha Mataji or, Lalita Mataji, Priyadarshini Mataji, and, Murli Prabhu. So, and of course, on and off other Matajis, but then regularly these are the people who are active. So when the preacher is speaking, it really is demotivating when others are very silent. So that is the thing. Tarni Mataji, can you please keep the video on? Venkata, yeah, Prabhu, sorry. Rajiv, Prabhu. Mainly interaction. In fact, I was having this in my mind and I think I've raised a couple of times. In fact, I was hard pressed to tell Pran Prabhu, but I did not. But I'm sure it's the same thing he also feels. Nityangani Mataji, can you please keep your video on? Rajashri Mataji, Koindala Rajashri Mataji, can you keep your video on? We have two options. Either we will keep the video on or Prabhu has told we'll exit. Even if there are 5, 6 students, which is fine. I think already there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of us are keeping the video on. In 2 minutes, if others are not able to switch on the video, I request you all to either leave or, because I think at least for 11 of them, we have to do justice. Because the most important thing in any, especially in Bhakti Vaibhav, is interaction. Level 1, I understand we won't know or we are scared. Please keep your video on. I don't even know if you all are listening. Rajeshri Mataji, are you even listening or is just, thank you, Mataji. Nityangani Mataji, likewise, are you there? Mamta Mataji, are you there? Or you're not there? At least unmute and tell. Otherwise, exactly in 1 minute, I'll be removing the names. Let me just put my phone on charge. I'll come back in 1 minute. And if the videos are not on or if the audios are not on, then we'll remove the names.
Hare Krishna Mataji, yes, I'm here.
Yeah, okay. Everybody's video on. And if the video is not on for a specific reason, at least your audio should be on to inform something. But if you are silent, it means it's just a thing for attendance. We are coming. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Your video on. Harni Mataji. Mataji, if you are not even responding, it means that the laptop is on, but nothing else is there. Can you please keep your video on?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, let me share my screen.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, 3 of them I've kept in the waiting room till they put the video, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that is
Rest
fine.
of them are fine.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you, thank you. So I'm very sorry, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, if I made you rush and all, but basic principle for spiritual life is our enthusiasm also encourages other devotees. Otherwise we are being very selfish, that we want to get benefited, but we don't want to serve other devotees. That is not good, right? So all of us, we need to learn this basic etiquettes also. So let's start. We were discussing last time how Shukadev Goswami prepares to answer various inquiries made by Parikshit Maharaj by referring to the conversation between Lord Brahma and the Supreme Lord. And we also mentioned that this particular chapter, it contains seed verses of Srimad Bhagavatam, which are called as Chatushloki Srimad Bhagavatam. And as Rasarangini Mataji also mentioned last time in her discussion, that how these verses of Srimad Bhagavatam were further expanded by the various acharyas coming in the line of disciplic succession from Lord Brahma. As a result, our sampradaya is called as Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnav Sampradaya. And we saw how Lord Brahma, after he was created from the lotus emanating from the navel of Lord Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, he did not know what he is supposed to do. And in order to understand where he has come from, what is the source of his origin, his birth, he went down the stem of the lotus and still could not fathom the end of the stem. And then he heard the two syllables, the 16th and the 21st syllable of the Devanagari alphabets, Ta and Pa, Tapa. And we see how Lord Brahma understood this particular instruction as that coming from the Lord, and then he performed tapasya. So that is where we would start from text 9 onwards. All of you are able to view the screen? Prabhuji's, Mataji's, Hare Krishna?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Okay, okay. So now from text 9 onwards, after Lord Brahma performed this tapasya, for how long did he perform? Prabhuji's, Mataji's, what was the duration?
1,000 years?
Yes, 1000 celestial years. 1000
Celestial years.
celestial years, that of the Devatas. Then what happens next? That based on the performance of that penance, based on the performance of that austerity, how Lord Brahma got the darshan of the Vaikuntha is explained here. So let's recite the verse first. Tasmai swalokam bhagavan sabhajitah.
Tasmai swalokam
Sandarshayam asaparam na yat param.
Sandarshayam
Vyapeta sanklesha vimoha sadvasam. Swadrishtavadbhir purushair abhistutam. So here it is mentioned, Tasmai swalokam bhagavan sabha jitaha. Lord Brahma was able to get the darshan. He basically, the Vaikuntha planets, the planets of the Supreme Lord himself, manifested swalokam. It manifested in front of Lord Brahma. Sandar Shayam Asa Param Na Yat Param. That supreme planet was manifested in front of Lord Brahma's eyes, beyond which there is no other destination. And what is the characteristic of that supreme place, Vaikuntha planet? Vyapeta Sanklesha, that it is completely free from the 5 kinds of material afflictions. So Srila Prabhupada states these material afflictions in the purport. He basically says, what are the 5 kinds of afflictions or miserable conditions? Ignorance, material conception, attachment, hatred, and absorption. So this particular place, Vaikuntha planets, it was free from these 5 kinds of afflictions. Swadrishtavadbhir purushair abhi sutam. And that particular planet, Vaikuntha planets, they could only be realized by persons who are completely swadrishtavadbhi. That means who are completely self-realized. Only such persons can have the vision of those Vaikuntha planets. Anybody would like to read through the translation and purports? Hare Krishna. Usha
Hare Krishna,
Mataji.
Prabhuji. Yeah. Yeah.
Prema Priya Mataji, you can read the
Yeah.
next one. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
Okay, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Usha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Pranams. All
Dhanwad.
glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. The personality of Godhead, being thus very much satisfied with the penance of Lord Brahma, was pleased to manifest his personal abode, Vaikuntha, the supreme planet above all others. This transcendental abode of the Lord is adored by all self-realized persons, freed from all kinds of miseries and free of illusory existence. Purport: the troubles of penance accepted by Lord Brahma were certainly in the line of devotional service, bhakti. Otherwise, there was no chance that Vaikuntha or Swalokam, the Lord's personal abodes, would become visible to Brahmaji. The Hare Krishna. Shall I continue, Prabhuji?
Yes,
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Yeah. The personal abodes of the Lord, known as Vaikunthas, are neither mythical nor material as conceived by the impersonalists. But realization of the transcendental abodes of the Lord is possible only through devotional service. And thus, the devotees enter into such abodes. There is undoubtedly trouble in executing penance, but the trouble accepted in executing bhakti yoga is transcendental happiness from the very beginning, whereas the trouble of penance in other processes of self-realization like jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, etc., without any Vaikuntha realization ends in trouble only and nothing more. There is no profit in beating husks without grains. Similarly, there is no profit in executing troublesome penances other than bhakti yoga for self-realization. Executing bhakti yoga is exactly like sitting on the lotus sprouted out of the abdomen of the transcendental personality of Godhead. For Lord Brahma was seated there. Brahmaji was able to please the Lord, and the Lord also pleased to show Brahmaji his personal abode. Srila Jiva Goswami, in the comments of his Krama Sandarbha annotation of Srimad Bhagavatam, cites quotations from the Brahad Aranya Yaka Upanishad, Vedic evidence. It is said that Yajnavalkya described that transcendental abode of the Lord to Gargi, and that the abode of the Lord is situated above the highest planet of the universe, namely Brahmaloka. This abode of the Lord, although described in revealed scriptures like the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam, remains only a myth for the less intelligent class of men with a poor fund of knowledge. Herein, the word swadrishtavadhihi is very significant. One who has actually realized his self realizes the transcendental form of oneself. Impersonal realization of self and the Supreme is not complete because it is just an opposite conception of material personalities. The personality of Godhead and the personalities of devotees of the Lord are all transcendental. They do not have material bodies. The material body is overcast with 5 kinds of miserable conditions, namely ignorance, material conception, attachment, hatred, and absorption. As long as one is overwhelmed by these 5 kinds of material miseries, there is no question of entering into the Vaikuntha lokas. The impersonal conception of oneself is just the negation of material personality, and it is far from the positive existence of personal form. The personal forms of the transcendental abode will be explained in the following verses. Brahmaji also described the highest planet of the Vaikuntha Loka as Goloka Vrindavan, where the Lord resides as a cowherd boy, keeping transcendental Surabhi cows and surrounded by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune. Chintamani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha लक्षावृतेषु सुरभिरभिपालयन्तं लक्ष्मीसहस्रशतसम्भ्रमसेव्यमानं गोविन्दमाधिपुरुषं तमहं भजामि. Brahma Samhita 5.29. The statement of the Bhagavad Gita, Yad Gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama, is also confirmed herewith. Param means transcendental Brahman. Therefore, the abode of the Lord is also Brahman, non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is known as Vaikuntha, and his abode is also known as Vaikuntha. Such Vaikuntha realization and worship can be made possible by the transcendental form and sense. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So here we see that because Lord Brahma followed the instruction of the Lord, despite the form of the Lord not appearing in front of him, and performed the penance tapa based on that instruction for how many 1000 celestial years of the devatas, the Lord became very pleased, and the Vaikuntha planets were manifested in front of Brahmaji, which are otherwise not possible to be seen by any person who is not a Sandar Shayam, who is not self-realized. So Brahmaji was given this particular benediction by the Lord. And what all did he observe on these Vaikuntha planets is going to be discussed in all these subsequent verses from text 10 onwards. So we'll proceed.
Prabhuji, I have one question.
Yes, Mataji.
That material miseries, what exactly does absorption mean?
Good question. So basically, typically the word Vaikuntha, it means it is free from kuntha, or it is free from all kinds of anxieties. So Srila Prabhupada writes in quite a few places, like we were discussing yesterday evening, even in Marathi Bhagavatam, that in this world, everybody is always engrossed in some kind of fear or anxiety or other. But in Vaikuntha, there is no such kind of anxiety or overwhelming fear at the background. So that's why it is called free from all these miserable or conditions of anxiety and misery and fear. So absorption, based on the normal description that Srila Prabhupada gives about the Vaikuntha planet, we can understand it is absorption in terms of insecurity, in terms of fearful condition that the material world has. Is that all right?
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we will proceed. One second, there is a slide on this. Yeah, so also what is the difference Srila Prabhupada mentions from Bhakti Yoga practice to that of other practices, including the path of Jnana Yoga, or Ashtanga Yoga, which is also called as Dhyana Yoga. What is the difference? So definitely, whenever we talk about any path of self-realization, there are austerities, there are penances that are involved. And Srila Prabhupada also mentions in the purport that even in Bhakti Yoga, there is undoubtedly trouble in executing penance. But what is the difference in Bhakti Yoga? That this particular trouble also is satisfying. It is not like the trouble that is encountered by these practitioners of the other paths, like I have shown here. Here, one particular yogi in the summer heat, he has put the burning coals all around him. He has lit the fire, and in such a inconvenient position where the weather is already hot, on top of that, he is sitting amongst the burning coals. He is practicing the yoga practice. Or on in the second picture, we see a yogi sitting in Himalaya where his body is all covered in snow and it is very, very cold out there. And this is not theoretical. Even now we can see that there is Alaknanda river in the Himalaya, and that water of the Alaknanda river is ice cold. But even in such ice cold water, we see the yogis, they stand with their body submerged, neck dip, and performed great austerities and meditation. So it is definitely painful whether we consider any path of spiritual realization, including the path of jnana or path of Ashtanga yoga practice. So even in Bhakti Yoga, there are definitely certain austerities in terms of following the four regulative principles, waking up early in the morning, performing the sadhana practice as given by our Guru Parampara, and chanting certain number of rounds as committed to the spiritual master, whether we like it or we don't like it. But we do it for the pleasure of the Lord and for the in honor of the vow that we take in front of the fire, in front of the deities, in front of the spiritual master during our initiation. But the difference between the trouble coming from the penances that are executed in bhakti versus the penances that are executed in other paths is, what is the difference? That is mentioned by in Bhagavad Gita. What is the three categorizations uh, of the pleasure that Lord Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhuji's Mataji's? The pleasure derived from austerities in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Anybody remembers? I know all of you know. You have to just scratch bit. And what is
Well,
the
what,
difference?
Hare
are you
Krishna
talking about
Prabhuji.
the, yeah, go ahead.
In goodness, it will be from pain to pleasure.
Correct. Very
So
nice. Yes. So in the
in
beginning, the
passion,
austerity feels like pain, but it ends like the nectar. That is the austerity in the mode of goodness. Yes. Then
in
passion.
Rajoguna, that is in
Hmm.
mode of passion, it will be from pain, from pleasure to pain. That is nectar to pain, Prabhuji.
Okay. 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 And in ignorance,
So throughout it is painful only,
pain.
Prabhuji.
Very
Pain to
nice.
pain.
Correct. So these are the three types of austerities that, or the pleasures in the mood of Sattva, Raja, and Tama that Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita, that the the activities in the mode of ignorance, they are painful in the beginning, they are painful in the end. The activities in the mode of passion, it appear very, very pleasurable and palatable in the beginning, but it ends in a very bitter way. But the activities executed in the mode of goodness, in the beginning they may seem like very bitter and not so palatable, but they end up in great happiness. And Lord Brahma, now this verse in the slides today you would find quoted 2 times, because this particular verse is the description of the Vaikuntha planets given by Lord Brahma himself in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, where he mentions how the residents of the Vaikuntha planets, they are always very, very blissful and they are very beautiful. Like, we will recite the verse. Anybody who wants to recite in proper meter? Anybody wants to try? Divya Rukmini Mataji, you want to try?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji. Whichever meter you.
Vaimanika lalanas
चरितानि शाश्वत गायन्ति यत्र शमला शबनानि भर्तु
Bhar-
अन्तर्जलेनु अनुविकासन् मधु माधवीनां गन्धेन कण्ठितधियोऽपि अनिलं क्षिपन्त. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Translation.
In Vaikunta planets, the inhabitants fly in their airplanes, accompanied by their wives and consorts, and eternally sing of the character and activities of the Lord, which are always devoid of all inauspicious qualities. While singing the glories of the Lord, they deride even the presence of the blossoming Madhavi flowers, which are fragrant and laden with honey.
Thank you. Thank you.
Srimad Bhagavatam 3.15.17. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, what is the concluding message in these descriptions, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? That although the surroundings are very, very opulent and pleasure giving, including the residents of the Vaikuntha planets, it is mentioned in the subsequent verses of this particular chapter that how the beauty of the ladies there is just like the lightning, Bhagavatam says. But, and also the flowers like Madhavi flowers, they are very fragrant and laden with honey. But the glory is that the residents are not enamored by any of such pleasure-giving surroundings. Their focus is completely on what? On singing the glorious activities and character of the Supreme Lord. So that's why they are called as residents of the Vaikuntha planets, because everybody's attention is focused towards glorifying the Lord, and nobody's attention is focused towards gratifying their own senses. So that is how Lord Brahma, he glorifies the residents of the Vaikuntha planet. And this particular state can be achieved by someone who practices the principles of Bhakti Yoga, which initially may seem very, very, not very, but slightly painful, slightly distasteful when in our conditioned state, we don't have taste for chanting, don't have taste for breathing. Like we see many a number of times that when we are not reading, not chanting, we may be active. But as soon as we sit with Srimad Bhagavatam in our lap, immediately we start dozing. Why? Because that material disease is still overwhelming. As soon as we start to chant, our mind becomes filled with so many plans related to office, related to our day-to-day life, etc. Because the mind is still diseased with the material condition. But despite that, a sadhaka, whether we derive taste in these spiritual practices, or even when sometimes these spiritual practices might seem like a bitter medicine, a sadhaka still follows it for the purification of his or her heart based on the vows that we have given to our spiritual master. Of course, that is not supposed to be the highest platform, but in our sadhana stage, in our sadhaka stage, while that taste has not developed, some of these practices might seem like distasteful or not very pleasure giving. But based on the descriptions of the scriptures, we have faith that this particular practice will lead me to eternal bliss. So this is the difference between practice of the other paths, processes for self-realization versus following of the Bhakti Yoga practice. Is this point clear, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Yeah, and this is a famous song that is composed by the Vaishnava poet Lochan Das Thakur. So this also window I had opened, but which got closed. So Lochan Das Thakur, he says, he sings, Parama Karuna Bahudui Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra Sab Avatara Sarashiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda Kevala Ananda Kanda Kevala Ananda Kanda. So he says that these particular two personalities, Lord Gaur Nitai, they have come, they have appeared to give something which is Sara Shiromani, to give something that is the topmost of any benediction that was given by any of the avatars, any of the incarnations of the Lord earlier. That particular process of devotional practice, which is Kevala Ananda Kanda, that means which is all pleasure giving, all through. And these two personalities, they have appeared to give that type of process. But the problem is that in our disease state, still we may feel this process as very, very difficult to follow or not having enough taste. But Rupa Goswami gives the example. What is the example we learned in this regard in Bhakti Rasamrut Sindhu? About something sounding distasteful in the beginning, but it is ultimately the medicine. What is the example? Anyone? Yes,
Sugarcane juice,
I
Prabhuji.
know.
Sugarcane juice.
Sugarcane juice. For a which patient?
For a jaundice patient.
Jaundice patient, correct. So for a patient having jaundice, the sugar candy or the sugarcane juice, it tastes bitter, Srila Rupa Goswami says. But that sugar candy or sugarcane juice is supposed to be the medicine to cure that jaundice disease. So similarly, even if the practices of spiritual life may sound very distasteful or unpalatable in the beginning, we should have faith and should continue to practice to reach this particular platform, like the residents of the Vaikuntha planet are experiencing. That though they have so many avenues for deriving pleasure for their senses, they are not at all attracted towards those avenues, but they are fully focused towards glorifying the Supreme Lord. So we proceed. What all different details did Lord Brahma observe in the Vaikuntha planets? Please try to repeat. Pravartate yatra rajastamastayo
Pravartate yatra rajastamastayo
Satvam cha mishram cha kala vikramaha
Sattvam cha mishram
Kala Vikramaha
na yatra maya kim uta pare hare
Na yatra maya kim uta pare hare
anuvrata yatra surarchitaha
Anuvrata yatra
So here Lord Brahma says, how did he perceive or observe that particular Vaikuntha planet? Pravartate yatra rajas tamas tayo, did not find any influence of the lower modes material nature, the Rajoguna, which is the mode of passion, or Tamoguna, which is the mode of ignorance in Vaikuntha Loka. So they were completely freed from the lower modes of nature, including the Tamoguna and Rajoguna. And Sattvam cha Mishram nacha Kala Vikramaha. Sattva guna, so Rajoguna and Tamoguna are typically found in this material world, and various acharyas explain that Rajoguna, it denotes the process of creation, and Tamoguna, it also represents the process of annihilation or pralaya. So because the Rajogun and Tamogun are not there in Vaikuntha Loka, the creation and annihilation of the Vaikuntha planets also does not happen like it happens in the material world. So that is first characteristic he observed. Second thing Brahmaji observed, Sattvam cha Mishram, that in this material world, the Sattva Guna or the mode of goodness, it is present, but it is present in mixed form. It is not the Shuddha Sattva. But in Vaikuntha Loka, Lord Brahma, he saw the Shuddha Sattva. That means without any tinge of any impurities. He saw the mode of goodness. Then Nachakala Vikramaha. and he saw that the time factor or influence of time factor was conspicuous by its absence. Now, what all of you are aware of this word conspicuous? What does this mean? Conspicuous means it has its significance or it shows its presence. So the time factor it shows its influence by not being present, by not being influential at all in the spiritual world. That means the day it progresses based on the plans of Lord Krishna, how he wants to perform his various activities for that particular day. Similarly, the residents of the Vaikuntha Loka, they also age only up till the time which is conducive for their performance of the past with Lord Krishna. Like probably the parents of Lord Krishna, they would probably elderly, but all other residents, all other associates of the Lord, they are also ever youthful. So that means the time factor, it does not have its deteriorating influence in the spiritual world like it does in the material world. This was also observed by Brahmaji. Na yatra maya kim uta pare harer. And Lord Brahma also saw that Maya does not have any, the Maya Shakti of the Lord, the external potency of the Lord, it does not have any influence in the Vaikuntha planets. And what was the last characteristic he observed? Anuvrata yatra sura surarchitaha. That every resident of the Vaikuntha planet, they are followers of the Lord, they are devotees of the Lord. So what type of residents? Sura, asura, architaha. That means, don't get confused. How can asuras be there? So they are not asuras who are envious towards the Lord, just the different types of residents. All are devotees, all are anuvrata, followers of the Supreme Lord. Nobody has got the rebellious attitude towards the Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna. Priya Jayashri Mataji, you can read the translation.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Om
Yes.
Namo Vasudevaya. In that personal abode of the Lord, the material modes of ignorance and passion do not prevail, nor is there any of their influence in goodness. There is no predominance of the influence of time. So what to speak of the illusory external energy? It cannot enter that region. Without discrimination, both the demigods and the demons worship the Lord as devotees. Purport by Srila Prabhupada.
So before we go to the purport, there is one more influence of the time factor that exists in the material world that Srila Prabhupada points out in the purport. That because of the influence of time factor, we see anything or any living entity that takes birth in the material world, it takes birth, it grows, then it sustains for some time, it produces the byproducts, then the body dwindles, deteriorates, and then there is death when the body is no more suitable for the soul to reside. So all these 6 transformations in a living entity's body that are observed in the material world, they are also conspicuous by their sense in the spiritual world. That means the body does not deteriorate with time in the spiritual world. Yes, Mataji.
I'll continue, Prabhuji. Purport?
Yes, Mataji.
The kingdom of God, or the atmosphere of the Vaikuntha nature, which is called the Tripada Vibhuti, is 3 times bigger than the material universes and is described here as also in the Bhagavad Gita in a nutshell. This universe, containing billions of stars and planets, is one of the billions of such universes clustered together within the compass of the Mahatattva. And all these millions and billions of universes combined together constitute only 1/4 of the magnitude, 1/4 of the magnitude of the whole creation of the Lord. There is a spiritual sky also. Beyond this sky are the spiritual planets under the names of Vaikuntha, and all of them constitute 3/4 of the entire creation of the world. God's creation creations are always innumerable. Even the leaves of a tree cannot be counted by a man, nor can the hairs on his head. However, foolish men are puffed up with the idea of becoming God himself, though unable to create a hair of their own bodies. Man may discover so many wonderful vehicles of journey, but even if he reaches the moon by his much advertised spacecraft, he cannot remain there. The sane man, therefore, without being puffed up, as if he were the God of the universe, abides by the instructions of the Vedic literature. The easiest way to acquire knowledge is transcendence. So, let us know through the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam of the nature.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, we'll take a pause here.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
Hare Krishna. So, what is Srila Prabhupada saying? That there is nothing for us to be proud of if we want to understand the nature of the spiritual world. Why? Because even the basic Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Even the basic things in this world, just like the hairs on our head or the leaves on a tree, we are not able to fathom the number, or we are not able to count. They are really huge in number. Like if we consider especially a big tree or even a normal tree, like neem tree, for example, the number of leaves are huge, very large in number. But the man sometimes has the audacity to think that he has reached the higher planets, or he has understood the higher planets just based on the progress of the modern science, like spacecraft, etc. But Srila Prabhupada mentions that without having the necessary prerequisite qualifications, even if we try to reach these heavenly planets, we won't be able to see the beauty and opulence, plus we won't be able to reside there forcefully. We'll be pushed out of it, just like the modern scientist. All they find is darkness and the soil and the rocks, etc. on the moon surface, but they are not able to see the opulence that is mentioned in the scriptures, because moon is one of the heavenly planets. So one of the basic criteria that is needed for understanding the spiritual life, for understanding the spiritual world, what is that criteria? Is the humility. So Srila Prabhupada mentions, the sane man, therefore, without being puffed up, as if he were the God of the universe, abides by the instructions of the Vedic literature, the easiest way to acquire knowledge in transcendence. That's why when Lord Krishna mentions various items of knowledge, 20 items of knowledge, what is the first one that he stresses in Bhagavad Gita? Prabhuji's, Mataji's? What is the first one? You can refer to your copy of Bhagavad Gita if you have it in front or online. Humility. Amanitvam adambhitvam. He mentions that the first quality of a devotee, if you want to progress in spiritual life, is not to have that false pride, but to humbly submit ourselves, especially to the instructions of the Vedic literatures. Then we would be able to acquire spiritual knowledge or knowledge in transcendence. That is the first qualification. Yes, Prema Priya Mataji.
Sorry, Prabhuji, for the disturbance I created. I'm sorry.
No.
So, let us know through the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam of the nature and constitution of the transcendental world beyond the material sky. In that sky, the material qualities, especially the modes of ignorance and passion, are completely absent. The mode of ignorance influences a living entity to the habit of lust and hankering. And this means that in the Vaikuntha Lokas, the living entities are free from these two things. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Brahmabhuta stage of life, one becomes free from hankering and lamentation. Therefore, the conclusion is that the inhabitants of the Vaikuntha planets are all Brahmabhuta, living entities, as distinguished from the mundane creatures who are all compact in hankering and lamentation. When one is not in the modes of ignorance and passion, one is supposed to be situated in the mode of goodness in the material world. Goodness in the material world also at times becomes contaminated by touches of the modes of passion and ignorance. In the Vaikuntha Loka, it is unalloyed goodness only.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you,
yes,
Mataji.
yes.
So we'll see, because the part is long. Now, in the next part of the
Prabhuji, can
purport.
I ask one question on
Yes,
this?
Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Prabhuji, what we see is in Vaikuntha Loka, there is no material afflictions, right?
Yes.
So my question is there no material, because of that there is no material affliction? Or is there, despite the presence of material, they are such a high level that the material afflictions don't take place?
So one way to understand it's in Vaikuntha or in the spiritual world, everything is spiritual, Prabhuji, including the matter. For example, the stone is not a non-living thing, or a food item like a samosa or a rasgulla. It is not a non-living thing. Or the plate of the Lord, the pillow of the Lord, the tadiya. Tadiya means the paraphernalia that is used by the Lord. It is also living. So in spiritual world, every speck of dust of the land is also spiritual and living. There is nothing like non-living. That is in terms of the nature of everything in the spiritual world. Secondly, why the lower modes are not there? Because only those living entities who have crossed beyond these lower modes and even the higher mode, which is sattva guna, they have achieved that mode in the vishuddha, that means uncontaminated format. Only they are able to. What do we mean by contaminated? For example, we can give examples of certain people in this world who are slightly in the mode of goodness, but not pure goodness. For example, Srila Prabhupada mentions in Bhagavad Gita, anybody remembers what type of examples he gives? Say, poets, philosophers. All of us remember Prabhuji these examples of persons he gives. So they are definitely relatively in the mode of goodness, but that is also not pure goodness. Why? Because that goodness is not directed towards the Supreme Lord. It is still on the mental platform. So we have examples like, I don't know whether it will be perceived positively or negatively, but we had a poet in Marathi literature who is very famous. Lot of all the school curriculums have the poems composed by this poet, and he was called Bala Kavi. He used to be so much engrossed in composition of those poems and remembering those poems that that type of person, he would simply forget what is happening in the external world. And but at one time it so happened that he was walking on the railway tracks, being completely absorbed in his own compositions and all, and could not really understand the train which was approaching from behind, and lost his life like that. So point is, whether it is a condition where the person is really unaware of the miseries outside, the answer is yes. But is it a pure goodness? The answer is no. Why? Because it is not in service to the Supreme Lord. So that is called as mixed goodness. But in Vaikuntha, only those persons qualify who have achieved the state of uncontaminated or unmixed goodness. So to answer your question, Prabhuji, yes, nothing is matter there. Everything is spiritual, and even the consciousness of those living entities who reside there is completely transcendental. Like we mentioned in earlier verse, that even though the men there have consorts who are so beautiful and the atmosphere is so enchanting, they never get attracted towards material pleasure. Their focus is always towards glorifying the Lord. Is that all right, Murli Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji, that's clear.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And then Srila Prabhupada mentions in the next part of the purport that the impersonalist, they have a conception. Let's read this part. that this material world is unreal. Like there is a Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. That means the impersonalists, the Mayavadis, they say that only the Brahman, it is real, but the material world is Mithya or unreal, it is false. But that is not a devotee's understanding. The devotee's understanding is that this particular material creation, it is not false, it is simply temporary. That means it remains in existence for a while. And like Srila Prabhupada gives the example, two examples he gives. One is that of a snake and a rope. A person in the night, if he's walking in the night and happens to encounter or touch a rope, he may become very, very afraid, thinking that it is a snake. But is that rope actually the snake? The answer is no. But the rope is true. We have encountered, felt it many times in our life. Plus the living entity, dangerous living entity, snake, it is also real. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada, in different of his writings, he gives the example of an animal chasing, here also he gives, the animal chasing water in the desert, the mirage. So definitely that water does not exist in the desert where the mirage is visible. But is water false? No. The experience of water is real, plus the desert is also real. Just that as an illusion, the animal feels water is there in the desert, start chasing it, and ultimately reaches its end. So the world is not false, it is simply temporary. That is the understanding of a devotee. So purport is long, we proceed. 1 second. This all of you can read through. Yeah, the highlighted part, Mataji, since there is.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. Since there is no deterioration, there is no past, present, and future in the estimation of time. It's clearly stated in this verse that the influence of time is conspicuous by its absence. The whole material existence is manifested by actions and reactions of elements, which make the influence of the time prominent in the matter of past, present, and future. There are no such actions and reactions of cause and effects there. So, the cycle of birth, growth, existence, transformations, deterioration, and annihilation, the 6 material changes, are not existent there. The whole, shall I continue, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes.
It is the unalloyed manifestation of the energy of the Lord without illusion as experienced here in the material world. The whole Vaikuntha existence proclaims that everyone there is a follower of the Lord. The Lord is the chief leader there without any competition for leadership. And the people in general are all followers of the Lord. It's confirmed in the Vedas, therefore, that the Lord is the chief leader and all other living entities are subordinate to him. For only the Lord satisfies all the needs of the other living entities. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So this particular last paragraph, which I have highlighted, it gives the significance of the word anuvrata, which is mentioned here in this verse. So anuvrata, it means all the residents of the Vaikuntha planets, they are the devotees, they are favorably disposed. They accept the Lord as their leader and themselves as the followers. Whereas in the material world, everybody wants to be the leader, everybody wants to be the Lord of all that he surveys, Srila Prabhupada says. And Lord's position as the chief amongst all the living entities and as that particular person who fulfills the desires of all the other living entities is mentioned in the Vedas. Which particular verse Srila Prabhupada is pointing to? We have studied this many times. What is that verse? Prabhupada quotes it in his purports many times. Mamta Mataji, Hare Krishna. Or any other devotees. Venkata Narsimha Prabhu. I know you know this verse. Prabhupada quotes this many times. Don't worry about being wrong. See, the trying is also fine. Nobody will judge.
Repeat the question once more, Prabhu, so that.
Yeah. So, yeah, read the highlighted part, which is, it is confirmed in the Vedas, therefore, that the Lord is the chief leader and all other living entities are subordinate to him. For only the Lord satisfies all the needs of all other living entities, which is the verse, it clicks in our head. Nityo Nityanam.
Nityanam Chetaso Chetasam. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam Yuvidadhati.
Vidadhati Kama.
So Eko Bahunam means, what is the speciality of that Lord? He satisfies, fulfills the desires, kaman, of all other living entities. He maintains all other living entities. That is the difference. And what is the similarity? Amongst the eternals, he is supremely eternal, and amongst the conscious, he is supremely conscious. So that is the Lord's position. Prabhupada quotes this many times. And then the last two lines also he quotes at one or two places. Tam atmastham ye anupashyanti dhiras tesham shanti shashwati netaresham. And those dhiras, those living entities who have realized this position of the Lord being the supreme amongst all the living entities and the maintainer of all the living entities, only these dhiras can attain lasting peace. Nobody else can attain the lasting peace. So this is the speciality of Vaikuntha. Short, in Vaikuntha, nobody competes with the Lord for leadership. Everybody accepts their position as the subordinate living entity in service to the Lord. Now, one thing, Prabhuji's Mataji's, which I felt at the back of mind, and you also can think, that in the material world, whenever we talk about somebody with absolute authority, immediately mind becomes very inquisitive or restless or rebellious. Why a person should have unchallenged authority? Why there cannot be anyone else equal or superior or at least equal? Because that is the very reason why that mentality has brought us here in the material world. At the back of our mind, we certainly feel it's something unusual whenever we talk about unparalleled leadership of the Lord. There is no one equal to, but that is a matter of fact. It is not that Krishna needs that worship or he needs that following. He also has, he anyway has eternal or unlimited number of followers and servants, but that is his very position, that there is no one equal to or greater than him. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Matta parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. So it is not that Krishna is fulfilling his ego. It is, and I had asked this question when I was attending the basics of Bhagavad Gita course during my college. I said, Prabhuji, in the material world, it is considered very rude if somebody starts glorifying himself, that, I am this, I am that, nobody is equal to me, nobody is greater than me. That person comes out like very egoistic person. So although this may be true, how come Krishna is saying that upfront and very without any inhibition? And that Prabhuji, His Grace Premnidhi Prabhu, he explained it very nicely. He explained that if Krishna does not clarify his own position to the conditioned living entities, how are we going to understand about him? There is no other means to understand if Krishna does not clarify his own position. So it is not that Krishna is being very self-centered or egoistic, that he's saying, I am this, I am that, I am the supreme, nobody is equal to me, nobody is greater than me. But he's only concerned about our own well-being, because without knowing that, we are rotting here in the material world for a very, very long period of time. So in order to help the living entities know him, know their constitutional position, in devotional service, Krishna has to clarify. Is this point clear, Prabhuji's Mataji's? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. So we proceed.
Prabhu, sorry, Prabhu, I raised my hand because this is something which you've explained, but I just wanted a little clarity. This we were talking about time. Does not exist there. So I understand that, that aging factor does not exist. But then how does it account? Like, in the sense, the Leelas also tell that Krishna wakes up in the morning. right?
Yes.
And he runs and he comes for breakfast, lunch, dinner. Does it mean that they will have morning, afternoon, evening? Again, next day will again be
Yes.
morning, but the day alone does not change. Like, today is second, tomorrow is third, so it will continue to be one day. Is that the way? And if I'm 15 years, I'll be always 15 years. Should I assume like that, Prabhu? I'm not able to really fit it in my head.
Yeah, that is correct understanding. Plus, there is one slight update or addition to that, that the sun rises when it is Krishna's wish to have that morning pastime. For example, we see even in the Bhu Vrindavan, even in the Vrindavan in the earthly planet, the uh, Sharad Purnima Rasa dance pastime, how long did it last? It lasted for one night of Lord Brahma. So Krishna has the full facility to expand the time factor or to compress it. Just like,
Clear.
for example, the Brahma Vimohan Leela, it went on for one full year, but the residents of Vrindavan did not feel it like one full year. They found it like very, very small period. So Krishna has that ability to expand or contract the time up to his pleasure. It is not like material world that Krishna, it is 6 o'clock morning, so you must get up. It is, if Krishna wants 6 o'clock to last till he pleases, he can make it last till that time. But nobody will realize also, and vice versa. Is that all
Clear.
right? Hare
Very
Krishna.
clear. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. And one more thing, that the residents grow only up till the age which is conducive for their interaction with the Lord. That means the coward boys and the coward girls, they would typically grow only up till they become youths, matching Lord Krishna. Hare
So
Krishna.
that means they will also be born, like from age 1, age 2,
Yes.
they will grow till 14. That is what you're saying.
14, 15, 16, yeah, youthful age.
And they are there permanently.
Permanently in that.
Got it.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji.
In
Yeah.
previous text, it is written that without discrimination, both the demigods and the demon
And
worship
yeah,
the Lord as devotees. So, if there is no mode of ignorance and passion in the Vaikuntha Loka, then how demons worship the Lord?
good question. Actually, I did mention briefly while explaining this. So basically, the import of this, as I have heard from devotees, is that each and every resident of the Vaikuntha planet, they are aligned with the process of devotional service. So don't take it demons like demons of the world. Basically, every living entity is aligned with Krishna as their leader, or they are followers of Lord Krishna, Anuvrata. Okay, they are not demons, that means rebellious or envious towards the Supreme Lord. Is that all right, Prabhu?
Okay, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
So
Krishna.
practically there are no demons like, okay, they are all
Okay.
followers, Anuvrata.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So we proceed, text 11. Today, Krishna willing, we will try to close this section till text 18, which is the description of Vaikuntha planet. These are not very long verses, small going ahead. Text 11. Shama Vadata Shatapatra Lochana
Yamavadata
Shana
Pisanga Vastra Surucha Supeshasa
Shangavastra Suruchaha Supeshasaha
Sarve Chaturbahava Unmishanmani
Sarve Chaturbahava Unnashanmani
Praveka Nishkambharana Suvarchashaha
Praveka Nishkabharana Suvarchashaha.
One second now, let me see if I left anything. Yeah, so here in the slides, I have also given another verse which comes in the first canto, where the residents of Dwarka are welcoming Lord Krishna, where they also mention that wherever Lord Krishna is, the influence of the time factor is not there. Na yatra kala prabhavet parah prabhu. So we proceed. Anybody would like to read through the translation and purport?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Shall I?
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Okay. translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The inhabitants of the Vaikuntha planets are described as having a glowing sky bluish complexion. Their eyes resemble lotus flowers. Their dress is of yellowish color and their bodily features very attractive. They are just the age of growing youths. They all have 4 hands. They are all nicely decorated with pearl necklaces with ornamental medallions, and they all appear to be effulgent. Hare Krishna.
Yes, purport.
Purport. The inhabitants in Vaikuntha Loka are all personalities with spiritual bodily features, not to be bound in the material world. We can find the descriptions in the revealed scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam. Impersonal descriptions of transcendence in the scriptures indicate that the bodily features in Vaikuntha Loka are never to be seen in any part of the universe. As there are different bodily features in different places of a particular planet, or as there are different bodily features between bodies in different planets, similarly, the bodily features of the inhabitants in Vaikuntha Loka are completely different from those in the material universe. For example, the 4 hands are distinct from the 2 hands in this material world.
Thank you much. Hare
Hare
Krishna. So
Thank you, Prabhuji.
in this particular verse, the features, the bodily features of the residents of Vaikuntha planet are mentioned, and how their beautiful forms are mentioned. Like they have got the sky bluish complexion. So although it is not mentioned by Prabhupada, we can understand that amongst the different liberations that are there in the spiritual world, one of the liberations is Sarupya Mukti. And what does Sarupya Mukti means? That the residents, they have got the complexion or the form just like the Supreme Lord. They also wear the garments which are yellowish in color, and not everybody is of the same complexion. There are residents, as we will see in the next verse, some of them also have reddish, some of them also have greenish complexion, but they all look very, very beautiful. Plus, their all the bodily limbs, they grow just perfectly good enough. That means nobody is, in material world we see sometimes people have their own unique faces, like somebody's nose is big, somebody's nose is small, somebody's eyes are big, somebody's eyes are small. But in the spiritual world, all the limbs of the body and all other organs of the body, they are just perfectly shaped to give the pleasure to the Supreme Lord. And here also it is mentioned, where did we see that they grow only up to the age of like growing youths. They don't grow beyond that. And because this is not the description of the Goloka Vrindavan, this is specifically Brahmaji got the vision of the Vaikuntha planets. That's why all the residents are mentioned as having 4-handed forms. If it was Goloka Vrindavan, then they are 2-handed forms residents. And in the slide, I have also given few verses where the Yamadutas, when they encounter Vishnudutas, when they have gone to get Ajamel, the Vishnudutas also arrive. So the description of Vishnudutas by the Yamadutas is also given in the 6th canto. Anybody would like to read just the translation? Prabhuji's, Mataji's?
Can I read,
All right.
Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, please. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The description of the residents of Vaikuntha, text 2.9.11. The order carriers of Yamaraja said, "Your eyes are just like the petals of lotus flowers, dressed in yellow silken garments, decorated with garlands of lotuses, and wearing very attractive helmets on your head and earrings on your ears. You all appear fresh and youthful. Your 4 long arms are decorated with bows and quivers of arrows, and with swords, clubs, conch shells, discs, and lotus flowers. Your effulgence has dissipated the darkness of this place with extraordinary illumination. Now, sirs, why are you obstructing us? Srimad Bhagavatam 6th Canto, 1.34 to 36. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is from the Ajamil section, where the Vishnu Dutas come and challenge the authority of the Yamadutas, that they don't let Yamadutas take away Ajamil. And the Yamadutas being wonderstruck because of two things. First, till that particular point in time, they have never ever been challenged. Their strength has never ever been challenged by any other personality. That was first, they were struck with wonder. Second, they were struck with wonder because of the beautiful appearance of the Vishnu Dutas. And their appearance is mentioned, like they also wear yellow silken garments, have 4 hands, and very bright and effulgent helmets, uh, glittering or very attractive, and decorated with bows, quivers, and all that. So this also confirms the point that this is the description of the residents of the Vaikuntha, not Goloka. Because in Goloka, nobody wears helmets. Krishna wears turban, and his friends also, they wear turbans. Plus, they don't carry weapons, bows, arrows, etc. So this is, and there are many such verses in Bhagavatam where such description of the Vaikuntha residents, it appears. So we proceed. Pravala Vaidurya
Pravala
Vaidurya
Mrunala Varchasaha
Mrinala Varchasva
Parispurat Kundala
Parispurat Kundala
Kundala
Mauli Malinaha.
Mauli
Malinaha.
Rohini Mataji, you can continue some of them.
Translation. Some of them are effulgent like coral and diamonds in complexion and have garlands on their heads, blooming like lotus flowers, and some wear earrings. Purport, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Purport. There are some inhabitants who have attained the liberation of sarupya, or possessing bodily features like those of personality of Godhead. The Vaidurya diamond is especially meant for the personality of Godhead. But one who achieves the liberation of bodily equality with the Lord is especially favored with such diamonds on his body. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So those residents of the Vaikuntha planet who have received this liberation of Sarupya Mukti, that means having the same Rupa or form like the Supreme Lord. So there are certain distinguishing factors, though the Vishnu Dutas or the residents of Vaikuntha planet, they look quite similar to the Lord. There are some differences which differentiates the Supreme Lord from the other residents. Which are those differences, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? For example, one is the Kaustuba money, that Srivatsa or Kaustuba, they are especially worn by the Lord. Similarly, here we understand that even the Vaidurya diamond, it is typically worn by the Lord only. But sometimes the Lord gives these facilities like Vaidurya diamond to wear to his associates as well. And that's why they look very, very beautiful. So we proceed. Now, next verse is the description of the Vimana, the description of the airplanes that carry the residents of the Vaikuntha planet from one place to another.
Sorry, Prabhu. Prabhu, sorry for interrupting, because this will come now. So I thought, in Vaikuntha, one thing I understood is same Rupa and all that, same color, only the thing is different. Now they're also talking about the Lakshmis over there. Are they referring to any devotee who becomes a permanent Vaikuntha Vasi? Right?
Yes.
Who has spouse also. Now, my doubt is this, Prabhu. Over there, Krishna is the enjoyer. You just said he is the only person whom the focus will be. Right? Now, if there is a husband-wife, you may tell that husband and wife together will worship Krishna. That is fine. But then the wife will still be focusing on the husband only, no problem. At least a little bit. I'm sorry,
So,
Prabhu. I think
no, no,
I
no,
am
no,
having
that is
very
fine. So, see, what I read and understood from Srila Prabhupada's purport is there are not just husband wife, there are cities, there are gardens. That means there are colonies of residents also. But the difference is that everybody's focus and attention is towards glorifying the Lord. That means although they are playing the role of husband and wife, that relationship of husband and wife is not exactly like the material world. Because in the material world, whether we acknowledge or we don't acknowledge, all of us, we are trying to be prominent in our circle of influence, right?
understood.
Stephen Covey uses that word, circle of influence,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
a father would try to be prominent amongst his family and the children. A wife will try to express her prominence or relevance in the household, because everybody at the back of their mind have themselves as the important person, but that is not the mentality in the spiritual world. So they have all the facilities, everything conducive for enjoyment, but their attention is focused. I don't want to distract all of you, but all of you will be surprised to know Srila Prabhupada mentions in one of the classes I recently heard, it is not that even the sexual life is absent in the spiritual world. It is not that. But the purpose is not to gratify one another, but it is the focus is always on the Supreme Lord. So, point is, the activities in themselves are not bad or distracting, provided what is the consciousness. So, they do live as husband and wife, they do live as a community, but the focus of that community is entirely towards glorifying the Lord. Is that all right, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Hare
In a
Krishna.
way, that is only what we are doing in ISKCON also, no, Prabhu. Like we as couple or as family, once you advance, you will be glorifying the Lord. No? Is it
We are
very similar?
trying to do, yes.
Acha. Sorry.
Yeah, we are still neophytes, like at least I can say for myself. But
Okay,
yes,
so
that is
over
the
there,
ideal.
the concept is here, still there will be enjoyer concept in the material world, though it may not be explicit, but there that is completely removed, right? That is what you're telling. So there the goal becomes Krishna and everyone else becomes more like friends. I mean, friends as
Friends. Correct.
not the priority in hand, right? Got it. Sorry,
Correct.
Prabhu. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
And even we see similar descriptions in other parts of Bhagavatam. For example, when Chitraketu Maharaj gets the body as a Vidyadhar after he becomes enlightened, it is explained in Bhagavatam that when he was traveling in the airplane, there were many beautiful ladies of that particular planet, but neither Chitraketu Maharaj nor those ladies, their attention was anywhere else than to glorify the Supreme Lord. Of course, still there was some inattention and some mistake happened from Chitraketu Maharaj when he tried to judge or glorify Lord Shiva in a very, very peculiar manner, and Parvati took offense to it. But point is, even although he's not the resident of the Vaikunta at that time, he was with the other planet, is still part of the material world, but the consciousness definitely is elevated than the material world.
Gandharva, right? Prabhu, was he not a Gandharva?
Vidyadhara. He
Oh,
was
Vidyadhara. Oh, okay.
Vidyadhara.
Vidyadhara is different from one of the planets, right? Like
Correct.
Gandharva.
So basically, they are also residents of the higher planets, like Devatas, Vidyadharas, Charanas, Gandharvas, all these personalities.
Prabhu, then what is so they also will have husband, wife, kids. Sorry, Prabhu, I'm just digging
Yeah.
because it just doesn't like that, right? That's what you're saying. So they will also have compartment family, grandmother, granddaughter, but everybody will focus on Lord. Is that
Correct.
right?
Correct,
Okay.
Mataji.
Sure.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
And so just one thing I don't want to speculate in terms of kids that you mentioned, that I will have to check, because typically the result of the union in this material world is a child, but that is not necessarily the fact in the spiritual world. So that I want to discount, but
Prabhu,
rest
the union you said is between husband and wife or the person and Krishna? It's always the person and Krishna, right? No?
Yeah, but union in terms of husband-wife relationship, I am saying.
Okay.
That is not always resultant in the child, like in the material world. Hare Krishna.
Got it, Prabhu. Got it. Then why that relationship, Prabhu? All of us should be there and enjoy over there. Sorry, Prabhu. I'll keep quiet.
No. So, no, nothing like that. See, why? Sorry, what was the last question?
No, why relationships? Because at least in the material world, I don't know, maybe I'm talking from a very narrow mindset, that the cause of bondage is the relationships, right? So if you go back to spiritual world, again you have relationships. I'm not able to think beyond that. I'm able to think that I will again get caught if I have a relationship. So sincerely, if I have a prayer, I'm just thinking from a very narrow-minded way in which I can. I would sincerely hope that there are no relationships, for at least for me in the spiritual world, because my focus will be Krishna, right? I'm not able to think of having a relationship and not focusing on the relationship. That is the point.
Yeah, so as Srimad Bhagavatam mentions, the cause of bondage in this world, to be honest, the union between man and woman is not the problem. The problem is the enjoyment mentality, which it creates more and more stronger knots of attachment between both the parties. So the act is not the problem. The problem is the consciousness and the subsequent result of that activity it causes in the material world.
Got it.
Hare Krishna.
Clear, Prabhu. Sorry, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Divya Rukmini Mata.
Prabhu, and it explains that no, there is only in spiritual world only one Purusha, that is Krishna, and
One enjoyer,
others are like woman. So how it come? There is a relationship comes with women, and there is no relationship with husband and wife relationship, and there won't be any children. It will not come, no, Prabhu.
So yeah, so are very details, and to be honest, I definitely am not at a platform. Srila Prabhupada and devotees of his caliber can answer. But to answer your question on the principal front, Krishna is the enjoyer, and all other are subjects who are engaged in his service for his pleasure only. Okay, there are no independent goals or independent enjoyment not centered around service to Lord Krishna. Okay, so even the relationship, that part that I mentioned, it is not that they do it as a only thing. The point I'm trying to mention is that that is not absent in the spiritual world. Is that all right, Divya Rukmini Mataji? And probably I would also consult Namanishta Prabhuji or some of the senior devotees here to get on this particular point, that why that even relationship exists. I will check on that.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we proceed, text 13. Brajishnubiryah parito virajate.
Brajishnuya
Parito virajate.
Virajate.
Lasat vimana valibhir mahatmanam.
Lasat
Vimana
vimana
valibhir mahatmanam.
Vidyotamana pramadottamadyubhi.
Vidyotamana
Pramadotyamadhyuvi
Savidyut abhra valibhir yatha nabha.
Vidyudabhavalibhir.
So here again the same theme is proceeded further. Brajishnubhir yah parito virajate. That, one second. Yes. So all the residents of the higher, the Vaikuntha planets, they are always surrounded by various airplanes that are glowing and brilliantly situated, that are lasat. Lasat means glowing. And Vidyotamana. So here Srila Prabhupada explains in the translation and purport that their consorts are so attractive that their beauty of the ladies of the Vaikuntha planets, it is compared to Vidyut. Vidyut means just like lightning. Srila Prabhupada mentions the ladies are as beautiful as the lightning because of their celestial complexion. Pramadottama Dyu. What is the meaning of this? Yeah, they have the celestial complexions, and all these combined together appear just like the sky decorated with the clouds and lightning, all the residents in the Vaikuntha planets. Anybody would like to read Prabhuji's Mataji's? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, may I?
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Yes.
Translation, Prabhuji.
Yes, translation.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada. The Vaikuntha planets are also surrounded by various airplanes, all glowing and brilliant situated. These airplanes belong to the great Mahatmas or devotees of the Lord. The ladies are the beautiful as lightning because of their celestial complexions. And all these combined together appears just like a sky decorated with both clouds and lightnings. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It appears that in the Vaikuntha planet there are also airplanes brilliantly glowing, and they are occupied by the great devotees of the Lord with ladies of the celestial beauty, as brilliant as lightning. As there are airplanes, so there must be different types of carriages like airplanes, but they may not be driven machines as we have experienced in this world, because everything is of the same nature of eternity, bliss and knowledge. The airplanes and carriages are of the same quality as Brahman, Brahman. Although there is nothing except Brahman, one should not mistakenly think that there is only void and no vari-
Variegated, yes.
variegatedness. Thinking like that is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Otherwise, no one would have such misconceptions of voidness in Brahman. As there are airplanes, ladies and gentlemen, so there must be cities and houses and everything else just suitable to the particular planets. One should not carry the ideas of imperfections from this world to the transcendental world and not take into consideration the nature of the atmosphere as completely free from the influence of time, etc., as described previously. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Madhaj. So here also Srila Prabhupada confirms that they do have the colonies, houses, cities, etc. But the focus is on Lord Krishna. So here, hang on. This is text 13. Yeah. So we saw this verse earlier where Brahmaji explains in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that their focus is always upon glorifying the Supreme Lord. They eternally sing of the character and activities of the Lord without getting distracted. So we proceed. Hare Krishna. Mataji, please proceed with the translation, text 14. Sanjukta Mataji.
Yes, Hare Krishna. The goddess of the fortune in her transcendental form is engaged in the loving service of the Lord's lotus feet and being moved by the black bees, followers of spring. She is not only engaged in variegated pleasures, service to the Lord, along with her constant companion, but is also engaged in the singing the glories of the Lord's activity. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So here the description of Lakshmi ji is mentioned, but hang on. Before that, I've mentioned two more verses in the slides to show the reason why the residents are not distracted. So in the same verse, 315 in third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 2-3 verses down the line, Lord Brahma also mentions in text 20, Yat sankulam hari padanati matra drushter vaiduryamarakata hemamayer vimanai esham brahat katitata smitashobhimukhya krishnatmanam naraja adadur utsma Utsmaya Dhyai. He mentions that Hari Padanati Matra Drishtair, that their focus is always on glorifying the Hari Pada, glorifying the lotus feet of the Lord, and all the different bodily shapes and forms of the residents of Vaikuntha are glorified, are described in Bhagavatam. But what is, because their mind is completely focused on glorifying the lotus feet of the Lord, plus their consciousness is focused on Krishna Manam Naraja Adadur Utsma Yadyai. That means their mind is not enamored because of these attractive bodily features of the residents, but they are, let me read the translation. The inhabitants of Vaikuntha travel in their airplanes made of lapis lazuli, emerald, and gold. Although crowded by their consorts, who have large hips and beautiful smiling faces, they cannot be stimulated to passion by their mirth and beautiful charms. So, because their mind is completely focused on Krishna, the residents of the Vaikuntha planet are never ever distracted, always focused on glorifying Lord Krishna. And in the 14th verse, the description of Lakshmiji is mentioned, how she is always engaged in serving the lotus feet of the Lord. And also in the 3rd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, we see the yogi should fix in his heart the activities of Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, who is worshipped by all demigods and is the mother of the supreme person, Brahma. She can always be found massaging the legs and thighs of the transcendental Lord very carefully, serving him in this way. So specifically the word that is used in Bhagavatam is Janu Dvayam Jalaja Lochanaya Jananya. That means she is always massaging the feet, plus Janu means the portion between the knees and the feet. The, what is it called in English? Calves, the calves of the Supreme Lord. So Lakshmi ji is always engaged in massaging the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. We proceed. Anybody would like to recite Prabhuji's, Mataji's, who has not recited or read? Lalita Vinodini Mataji, you want to recite, Mataji?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, yes.
Dadarsh tatra kila sattvatam patim.
Tatarshada
Patim
Shriyapatim Yajnapatim Jagatpatim.
Shriyapatim Yajnapatim Jagatpatim
Sunandananda Prabalarhanatbihi.
Sunananda Prabhalanatvihi
Swaparshadagai Parisevitam Vibhum.
So here Krishna is mentioned as Lord of multiple entities, who all, first is mentioned as Satwatam Patim. Satwatam means the devotees. Where do you see this word again in Bhagavatam? We have seen it earlier. Anyone? In the 2nd chapter of 1st canto, Suta Goswami mentions Lord Krishna as Satwatam Patim, that he appears to deliver the devotees. So that is the Lord of the devotees. Then Sriya Patim. Sriya means the goddesses of fortune, Lakshmi ji. So he is the Lord and Master of the Lakshmi jis, plus he is the Lord of all the sacrifices, plus he is the Lord of entire universe, Jagannath. So Krishna is glorified as Lord of all these entities. Yes, Mataji. Translation purport.
Yes, Prabhuji. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Brahma saw in the Vaikuntha planets the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of the entire devotee community, the Lord of the goddess of fortune, the Lord of all sacrifices, and the Lord of the universe, and who is served by the foremost servitors like Nanda, Sunanda, Prabala, and Arhana, his immediate associates. Purport. When we speak of a king, it is naturally understood that the king is accompanied by his confidential associates like his secretary, private secretary, aide-de-camp, ministers, and advisors. So also when we see the Lord, we see him with his different energies, associates, confidential servitors, etc. So the Supreme Lord, who is the leader of all living entities, the Lord of all devotee sects, the Lord of all opulences, the Lord of sacrifices, and the enjoyer of everything in his entire creation, is not only the Supreme Person, but also is always surrounded by his immediate associates, all engaged in their loving transcendental service to him. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. So all these persons who are mentioned, their position, oh, sorry, one second. Yeah, their position is also given in the subsequent verses. Most of them are like the servitors and the guards and the doorkeepers of the Supreme Lord. How Vaikuntha has got many gates. How many? 7 in total, Mataji's, Prabhuji's? How many are there in Srirangam? That many. So Srirangam has how many? 7, right? One inside another. So
7, to my knowledge, yes, Prabhu, 7.
yeah, so the entire city is situated within a large compound, and within that large compound there is a smaller compound with gates. Within that smaller there is another smaller compound till the Garbhagraha, or the place where Lord resides. So similarly, Vaikuntha has also got 7 gates and various gatekeepers and servants of the Lord located there. And one second, I mentioned something. Yeah, so this will come next. So after discussing about the residents of the Vaikuntha, their complexion, their beautiful appearance, followed by description of Lakshmi ji, who is always engaged in serving the Lord. Now from this text onwards, Lord Brahma is describing the beauty and opulence of the Supreme Lord. So in this verse, he mentions how Krishna is the Pati, or the Lord and Master of devotees, Lakshmis, all the sacrifices, and the universe itself. So we proceed. These are few important, some of these we will recite.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Who's reading, Prabhuji?
Mataji, your voice is coming bit low. Can you come near the mic? Hare Krishna.
Bhaktya prasadhabhimukam dragasavam.
Bhritya
prasadamukam
druasavam
Sahasaruna lochananana. Kiritinam kundalinam chaturbhujam.
Kiritinam kundalinam chaturbhujam
Pitam sukam vakshasi lakshitam shriya.
Pitam sukam vakshasi lakshitam priya. Translation, Mataji.
Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The personality of Godhead, seen leaning favorably towards his loving servitors, his very sight intoxicating and attractive, appeared to be very much satisfied. He had a smiling face decorated with an enchanting reddish hue. He was dressed in yellow robes and wore earrings and a helmet on his head. He had 4 hands, and his chest was marked with the lines of the goddess of fortune. In the Padma, Hare Krishna. Shall I continue, Prabhupada?
Yes, Mataji.
In the Padma Purana, Uttarakanda, there is a full description of the Yoga Pita, or thus a particular place where the Lord is in audience to his eternal devotees. In that Yoga Pita, the personification of religion, knowledge, opulence, and renunciation are all seated at the lotus feet of the Lord. The 4 Vedas, namely Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva, are present there personally to advise the Lord. The 16 energies headed by Kanda are all present there. Khanda and Kumuda are the first two doorkeepers. At the middle door are the doorkeepers named Bhadra and Subhadra. And at the last door are Jaya and Vijaya. There are other doorkeepers also named Kumuda, Kumudaksha, Pundarika, Vamana, Shankukarna, Sarvanetra, Sumukha, etc. The Lord's palace is well decorated and protected by the above mentioned doorkeepers. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So in this particular verse, the important word is Druk Asavam. What does Druk Asavam means? That means the Lord's sight, just the sight of his lotus face is very, very intoxicating. And there are so many descriptions again in Srimad Bhagavatam, how the Lord's sight is very, very intoxicating. So I have shortlisted few verses here. Mataji, you can just read the translation of these verses.
Yes, Prabhu. Description of the beautiful form of the Lord. Text 2.9.16. Rikasavam, the Lord's very sight is intoxicating and attractive. The Lord is decorated with small golden bells around his waist, and his lotus feet are decorated with golden ankle bells. All his bodily features are very attractive and pleasing to the eyes. He is always peaceful, calm, and quiet, and very pleasing to the eyes and the mind. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.8.49. Second also, Prabhu.
Yes.
However, persons who have given up stereotyped worldly affairs and the beastly followers of these affairs, and who have taken shelter of the umbrella of your lotus feet by drinking the intoxicating nectar of your qualities and activities in discussions with one another, can be freed from the primary necessities of the material body. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.21.17. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So that means not only is the sight of the lotus face of Lord Krishna is intoxicating, even the discussion of his beautiful form, even the discussions of his wonderful qualities and activities, that is also intoxicating, as we see in the second verse. So those devotees who have given up everything, the association of worldly people and anything to do with the worldly affairs, like for example Shukadev Goswami, he has nothing to do with the worldly people or worldly affairs. Even such type of persons have completely given up everything in this world, they are also attracted to the descriptions of the qualities and activities of the Lord, which is the verse, Mataji's, Prabhuji's, we had studied, which explains that even the Paramhamsa devotees who have given up everything, who have nothing to do with this material world, they also get attracted by the discussion on qualities, pastimes of the Lord. Is that verse?
Atma Ramasya Muniya, right?
Atma Ramasya Munayo Nirgrantha
api urukrame itam bhuto gunari. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So that verse glorifies that such Atma Ramas like Shukadev Goswami, even when they have given everything, nothing to do with the material world, Krishna is so attractive that he is able to attract the attention of such an Atma Rama devotees also. So here it is mentioned not only his darshan, but even the description of his qualities, activities, it is all Drik Asavam. Drik Asavam means it is very, very intoxicating and attractive. So I'll just take 5 more minutes. So here Srila Prabhupada mentions that how Krishna has got multiple associates, and because the Vaikuntha is so huge with so many gates, he has got different servants and doorkeepers. And the inside most part of his residential quarters, Jay and Vijay are the doorkeepers. Hare Krishna. So now we directly go to the translation. Anybody would like to read Prabhuji's Mataji's translation?
Like Prabhuji.
18. Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
The Lord was seated
on his throne and was surrounded by different energies like the 4, the 16, the 5, and the 6 natural opulences, along with other insignificant energies of the temporary character. But he was the factual Supreme Lord enjoying his own abode. Purport. The Lord is naturally endowed with his 6 opulences. Specifically, he is the richest, is the most powerful, he is the most famous, is the most beautiful, is the greatest in knowledge, and is the greatest renouncer as well. And for his material creative energies, he is served by 4, namely the principles of Prakriti, Purusha, Mahatattva, and ego. He is also served by the 16, namely the 5 elements earth, water, air, fire, and sky, 5 perceptive. Hare Krishna. Perceptive sense organs, the eye, ear, nose, tongue, and skin. The 5 working sense organs, the hand, the leg, the stomach, the evacuation outlet, and the genitals, and the mind. The 5 includes the sense objects, namely form, taste, smell, sound, and touch. All these 25 items serve the Lord in the material creation, and all of them are personally present to serve the Lord. The insignificant opulences, numbering 8, the Astasiddhis attained by yogis for temporary overlordship are also under his control. But he is naturally full with all such powers without any effort, and therefore he is the Supreme Lord. The living being, by severe penance and performance of bodily exercises, can temporarily attain some wonderful power, but that does not make him the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord, by his own potency, is unlimitedly more powerful than any yogi, is unlimitedly more learned than any gnani, is unlimitedly richer than any wealthy person, is unlimitedly more beautiful than any beautiful living being, and is unlimitedly more charitable than any philanthropist. He is above all. No one is equal to or greater than him, nor can anyone reach his level of perfection in any of the above powers by any amount of penance or yogic demonstrations. The yogis are dependent on his mercy. Out of his immensely charitable disposition, he can award some temporary powers to the yogis because of the yogis hankering after them. But to his unalloyed devotees who do not want anything from the Lord save and accept his transcendental service, the Lord is so pleased that he gives himself in exchange for unalloyed service. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you. So here it is mentioned that Krishna can outperform even the greatest of the yogis in any of his opulences. For example, here I have given example of Trunavarta. Trunavarta, Bhagavatam explains that he was the great mystic who knew he could go up high up in the sky. He went 800,000 miles, which is translated in Bhagavatam to 100,000 yojanas high into the sky, and he took baby Krishna also along with him. But what did baby Krishna do when Trunavarta lifted him up high in the sky? He became light like a feather. And when Trunavarta was so high, which was the limit of his yogic power, Krishna immediately became heavier than the heaviest. And Trunavarta was not able to bear the weight of this child when Krishna increased his weight. And while Krishna increased his weight, he did not become big in size. He still retained the childlike mentality of a baby, where the baby would they want to hold up to something and not give up. So he held on to the neck of Trunavarta, and Trunavarta was, despite he trying very hard, he was not able to free himself up from Krishna. And ultimately, Trunavarta crashed down to the earth, and Krishna was upon his body totally unharmed. So this is one example to show how Krishna was able to outperform Trunavarta, who was a greatly accomplished mystic, in first going very light like a feather and then increasing his weight, which Trunavarta was not able to tolerate. So this is one example. Another example is Putana. She was also a khechuri, who was able to take any form or shape of her choice. So she chose to be a very beautiful young lady, where the residents of the Vraja, they considered Sakshat Lakshmi has come from Vaikuntha in order to bless our child. And they handed over Krishna to this lady who came in a beautiful form as a mother. But Krishna even outmaneuvered her, that he drank the poison plus her life here as well and gave her liberation. So if we consider different opulences, strength we saw Putana or Trunavar, wealth, can we think of any example from Bhagavatam how Krishna demonstrated supreme wealth? What did he do? Anything? Yes, Prabhuji's, Mataji's? Overnight, without any time taken, Krishna built 16,108 palaces in Dwarka for each of his queens and even for the rest of the residents. So Dwarka was built overnight, and in the night, the residents of Mathura went to bed in Mathura. Morning, when they woke up, they were in Dwarka. So that is his opulence of wealth, strength, wealth, beauty. Beauty, what is the any pastime we can think of, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, where Krishna outmaneuvered a proven mystic?
Where
When
even Shiva fell for his beauty. Prabhu, can we say
Yes, correct. Shiva, who is considered as ultimate dhira, steadfast person, he was enamored by Krishna's beauty. Or Cupid, who had got apsaras from heaven, Narayan Rishi out maneuvered him by giving Urvashi, who was much more beautiful than any of the apsaras brought by Cupid from Indra. Also, strength, wealth, beauty, fame. Fame, we can understand that ages or so many long years have gone by, but pastimes of the Lord Ram, Lord Narsimhadev are still discussed with that much fervor. In fact, yesterday I was quite surprised to know that even to this modern day and age, they are still making movies on Ramayan and all. So this proves his fame. Strength, wealth, beauty, fame, knowledge. We can see the example of so many like Keshav Kashmiri, who was outmaneuvered by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his boyhood as
Prabhuji,
my. Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, P.S. Murthy Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. And the last one is renunciation. Anyone, Prabhuji's, Mataji's, for renunciation? Any example? How did Krishna display renunciation?
When he left Vrindavan.
Mhm.
Prabhu.
Yeah, more
also left the
than
material world also, no problem. Like without
correct.
any attachment. So I
Correct. So yeah, second one is more appropriate. Or when Krishna manifested the Maushala Leela, when the Yadus, their whole dynasty was wound up by Krishna, he displayed renunciation. He was not even slightest bit attached, as if he had nothing to do with it. So that proves his renunciation. He is not attached. For Vrindavan, of course, he had his heart in Vrindavan. So he did desire and subsequently went back as well. That the Rath Yatra signifies that. So yeah. So I think we should stop here. 18th one is bit long purport. We can start with it in the next setting, Prabhuji's, Mataji's. Anyone has any comment, questions? Hare Krishna. So Rasarangini Mataji, just for info, I think next session we would just reach before the start of Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. So next to next session, you can plan for whoever you want to invite for Chaturshloki Bhagavatam discussion.
and to invite the entire fast track group, Prabhu, if that's okay, because so for
Yes.
Chatursh, that is
Next to next. So let the
yeah,
next
got it.
finish.
So that will be on week 16, that is 16th of August.
Yes, Mataji.
Sure, Prabhu. Done, Prabhu. And we'll be talking in comparison with Bhagavad Gita and all that. So
Yes.
and if
We'll
you want
go
to take two
in depth.
sessions, I meant that
Yes,
way.
yes.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Yeah. And as we approach, I would clarify more, but I would request don't skip any of these long purports. especially when we go to Chatushloki Bhagavatam. So these are the seed verses of Bhagavatam, and very important to understand these thoroughly. Prabhuji's, Mataji's. I will try to come as well prepared as possible. Hare Krishna.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji's, Mataji's. And coming back to the point, see, I know some of you really have constraints. I know Reena Mataji is in office. So Mataji, it is fine if you want to keep the camera off. No compulsion for you. It is exceptional circumstance. Rest all devotees, try your level best. Okay. So my apologies if I sounded bit harsh, but I personally felt that would be good service to other devotees as well, if all of us participate nicely.
No problem, not harsh at all. Mainly, I also was telling them that it is more than the camera, it's the interaction. I think 90% of us interact only when the camera is on. So that is where it's all coming. So I told them that as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Vamcha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Vaishnav Thakur ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandas Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Pranams, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Let me end the meeting. Sorry. Thank you, sir.